All right, let's dive right in. We're going to talk about something that is pretty much everywhere these days, quietly changing everything from what movies you watch to how businesses make money. We're talking about machine learning.
So you ever stop and wonder, how does your favorite streaming service know? I mean, you finish one show and bam, the perfect next one is just there, waiting for you. Is that just a lucky guess? Is it magic? What's really going on?
Well, the answer is machine learning. And really, it's just what it sounds like. It's the science of getting machines to learn and get better at stuff over time, all on their own. We don't have to program them for every single little thing.
Okay, so let's get into it. What makes this so different from the kind of code our parents, or even grandparents, might have worked with? It's a totally different way of thinking.
This is where it gets really cool and kind of flips things on its head. With old-school programming, right? You give the computer the data and the rules, and it spits out an answer. But with machine learning, you give it the data and the answers, and it figures out the rules for itself. It's like the machine is writing its own program. It's totally automated.
Now, to really understand where machine learning fits in, we kind of have to zoom out for a second. Think of it like a set of nesting dolls. The biggest doll, the whole concept, is artificial intelligence, or AI. That's the big dream, right? Making machines that can actually think and make decisions like a human.
So where does machine learning fit? It's the next doll inside AI. They aren't the same thing. Machine learning is a powerful part of AI. You could say it's one of the main ways we're actually making AI happen. It's the engine that makes so much of modern AI go.
And if we go one level deeper, we find the smallest doll, deep learning. Think of this as machine learning on steroids. It uses something called neural networks, which are kind of inspired by the human brain, to find super complex patterns in huge amounts of data. This is the secret sauce behind stuff like your phone recognizing your face or your smart assistant actually understanding what you just said.
All right, so how do we actually get a machine to learn? How does it go from a pile of data to, a smart prediction? It really isn't magic. It's more like following a recipe. Let's walk through the kitchen, step by step.
It's a pretty straightforward process, really. First, you need your ingredients. That's the data. You have to gather it and clean it up. Then you pick your recipe, which is the algorithm or model you're going to use. Next comes the cooking part. You train the model by feeding it the data. And then you check on it. You evaluate how it's doing. You might need to tweak the heat or add a little salt. That's called tuning. And then, once it's ready, you serve it up. You use it to make predictions on new stuff it's never seen before.
And at the heart of any of these models, no matter how complicated they seem, are three basic ideas. First, what does this model actually look like? Its structure. That's representation. Second, how do we know if it's any good? That's evaluation. And third, how do we make it better? That's optimization. That's the whole game, right there. Okay, so just like people, machines have different ways of learning. You wouldn't use the same method to teach someone to ride a bike as you would to teach them history, right? It all depends on the job. So let's check out the three big teaching styles for machines.
First, you've got supervised learning. This is probably the one you'll run into most often. The best way to think about it is like studying with flashcards. On one side, you have the question, that's your data. On the other side, you have the answer, that's the label. You show the machine thousands of these, and it learns to connect the dots. It's absolutely perfect for things like spotting spam in your inbox or predicting what a house is going to sell for.
Then there's unsupervised learning. This is totally different. Imagine you just dump a massive pile of Legos on the floor, all different shapes, colors, and sizes. You tell the machine, okay, figure it out, sort these. You don't tell it how to sort them. It has to find the patterns all by itself. Maybe it groups them by color or by shape. This is awesome for businesses who want to find natural groupings in their customers, to find segments they never even knew existed.
And last but not least, reinforcement learning. If you've ever taught a dog a new trick, you already get the basic idea. The machine, we call it an agent, tries something. If it does a good job, you give it a treat, a reward. If it messes up, no treat. Over and over, through trial and error, it learns the best way to get the most treats. This is how AIs get so good at playing video games or how we teach robots to walk.
So I know this might all sound a little bit out there, a little bit sci-fi. But here's the thing. You are already using this stuff every single day, probably without even realizing it.
No, I'm serious. Remember that streaming recommendation we kicked this off with? Classic supervised learning. All those you might also like product suggestions, supervised learning. Your bank sending you a text about a weird charge. Yep, that's a model that's learned to spot fraud. And when you ask your phone for the weather, or your Photos app automatically finds all the pictures of your best friend. That's that supercharged deep learning we were talking about. It's just woven into everything we do online now.
And this stuff isn't just about making our lives easier. For businesses, it's a total game changer. Take finance. You've got models churning through mountains of data to figure out risk, or, like in this case, to predict which sales leads are most likely to actually turn into customers. That lets a company know exactly where to put its time and energy.
And it goes even deeper. Companies are using this to get a complete picture of their entire operation. They're asking questions like, who are our customers really? Or which of our sales teams is knocking it out of the park? It all comes down to finding those hidden patterns in the data so you can run smarter and make your customers happier.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground. We've talked about what machine learning is, how it works, and where you're seeing it every day. But this whole field is moving at lightning speed. So let's wrap this up with a few really important things to remember and a little peek at what's coming next.
Okay, first thing, and if you remember nothing else, remember this. Data is everything. You can have the most brilliant, complex algorithm on the planet, but if you feed it garbage data, you're going to get garbage results. It's that simple. Data is the fuel.
Second key idea, don't let your model memorize the answers. You want a student who actually understands the subject, not one who just crammed the textbook for the test. Because as soon as they get a question they haven't seen before, they're toast. In the machine learning world, we call this overfitting, and it's a huge thing to watch out for.
And finally, building a model isn't a set it and forget it kind of deal. Think of them as living, breathing things. They need to be fed a steady diet of new, fresh data so they can keep learning and improving. It's a never-ending cycle of training, improving, and retraining.
And that really brings us to the big final question, doesn't it? The technology for teaching these machines is getting better and better, faster than we can even imagine. So the question isn't really how we can teach them anymore. The real question is, what should we teach them? What are the big problems we should aim this incredible power at? Something to think about. Thanks so much for joining me.